Hi friends, Concy here from atop Serenity Hill, and today we are back in our master junk journal to add a few more fun elements. But we're going to start with what's called a masterboard. I'm going to show you how to make this, and then we're going to break up that masterboard to make an edging for a page, a fun belly band, some quick little tabs for the edges of some pages, and a couple tags. That's what masterboards are. They're a way for you to have something fun that's all uniquely yours to divide up and create fun elements for your junk journal. So let's dive in. So I'm going to use a piece of white cardstock as my masterboard base, and then this is the pile of little bits that I pulled out of a bag I was saving it in. There's so much, it's just a bunch of stuff. You can make a masterboard that is all one color or a color theme. My junk journal that I'm going to be putting all this stuff into, my master junk journal, doesn't have a theme other than all the things. That would be my theme, all the things. So I just want to make a masterboard that is just gluing down all the bits. As I go, I might see a theme starting to emerge. I mean, maybe I would find like I'm using more greens or blues or purples or something. So then I can start maybe digging through the pile and going for that. But I'm going to use a glue stick. You can use Mod Podge or matte medium or matte gel, whatever you are comfortable with. I'm just going to use a glue stick for now. So I'm going to just start and put some music on, let you watch me just add all the bits to the page, and then we will see if we want to embellish it further before we cut it apart. Okay? Okay, so it's all glued down, and it's actually, I really like the color scheme, but I can do a couple different things to it. One, you could tone it back down a little bit with like some dry brushing of gesso, which I think I will do just to share what I mean by that. You could splatter it or stencil on top of it. There's, I mean, you know, you could do so much. But let's just get a little bit of white gesso and a dry brush. So literally dry, okay? And I just take it and dip it in the gesso, and just very lightly go over everything. You want to be careful that you don't get like, oh, it's not really coming up, so you dip in the gesso really strongly and just go for it, because then you'll end up with like crazy streaks. Okay, so you can see what it did. It flattens it out a little bit and makes some of the darks not so dark and makes some of the lights even more light. So this also helped me see a little bit that there were some sections that didn't glue perfectly. So if that helps, it was just more that, just that one little piece of tape didn't glue great. So it kind of just, it makes it flatten it out a little bit. And then the other thing I would like to do is I think I'm going to splatter it with a little bit of watercolor. Maybe a little bit of black. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do anything. Let me put paper underneath. Oops, not a big enough piece. You could have just done it, especially if yours was had a specific color theme. You could have just left it alone and then just started cutting it up. But this is what I felt compelled to do, was splatter it with some black watercolor. All right, so we're gonna let that watercolor dry, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna cut it up and do some stuff with it. Okay, so the first thing I would like to make out of this is a couple of tags, and I would like to use my tag punch. So I need the tags, well, they can be 1.5 to 2.5 inches, but I'm gonna do some 2.5 inch tags. So I'm just gonna pick, let's see, if I did this in half, I think I'm gonna do this way. So I need 2.5 here. And I'm gonna punch it. Boom. On both ends. This is a little bit wider. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to go to my book because I have a thought. I have made 2 pockets here, and it would be fun to have the tags in here. So if I was to put one, I think if I cut them in half, if I cut this in half, that would work. So let's see how long these are. Now they get a little bit shorter, just in case you're like, well, that was just 8.5. No, it's not anymore. It cuts off a part of it, so I need it at 4 inches. This always throws me, what 4 is the end of this right here. Okay. Okay. And a corner around them. Okay, and so you can decorate the backs. The backs are still available for journaling or, you know, whatever you want. There's some black paint on the back. But now I have 2 fun tags. Let's see if we even have some ribbon or something to go in this. All right, so just adding a little bit just to give you some ideas. So you can continue, this is a great base that you could just add a quote to this, or you could continue to embellish on this. So a masterboard can be, depending on how it looks when you're done, can be done, or it can continue to be embellished on. But first of all, you got yourself some tags, okay? The next thing that I would like to do with this is to add something along an edge. So this is long enough that I could add some kind of edge to it. So I'm gonna tear it. I have this crazy tear ruler. That was gifted to me. Okay, and it makes it crazy ripped. And actually, I like this one even better. So I'm going to tear again. So what I'm trying to do is just get an edge piece. Okay, that's really fun. All right, so I love the way this looks, but it could use a little more zhuzhing. So what I want to do is glue this along the edge of the page so that it has something fun as a decoration. So I'm going to also add some watercolor across the back because you're going to be able to see part of it. And because I have a sewing machine, I'm actually going to take it to my sewing machine and sew it onto the edge of this page. Okay, so I'm back with the edge. I sewed a piece of it on the edge with a zigzag stitch. So now I've got part of the decoration is also the zigzag stitch on this side. And then I have a nice fun edge on this side, okay? And so you could do that on a couple different pages. It might even be fun to do it on the first, and I might even do it again on the last page because then it bookends the journal, okay? And so I'm gonna save this and do this one on the last page. So it doesn't have to be torn on both sides. I can do a different kind of edging, a different color, whatever I want, but I think I'm gonna do it on both. So I'll show that when I'm done. All right, so we've got a tag and then we've got an edge. Okay, so I tore off another piece and this time I'm gonna just use it to create a belly band. Okay, so for those that are like, what's a belly band? A belly band is just a piece of paper or of some kind of thingy. This is my part of my masterboard, is a long strip that is glued only on the top and the bottom. So then you can put things underneath it. Okay, so then I'll have a tuck. But I don't want to leave this plain. So I've grabbed, let's flip it over so it's easier for you to see. I grabbed a black ink pad and some spirals and a spiral stamp. And I just want to embellish this a little bit so that it's not, so you can see, you know, other things that you could do with it. Okay, it also helps it stand out. The way this looks here, you can see against this page, it kind of blends in. But if I were stamping it, and then also I'm going to use the stamp pad and grunge up the edge. And you don't need a tear ruler, by the way, to tear. Just tear against any ruler or just hand tear it. Okay. So then I'm going to glue this in here with, oh, there it is, my art glitter glue, which disappeared. And I'm just gluing it on the top and on the bottom. And I pretty much go in the middle of the page. Be able to grab. Okay, so it's one, it's decoration, and two, you now have, I'm just going to fold this, a tuck spot to add either some tags or a small journal or some journaling paper or whatever works for you. What do you want to tuck under your belly band? Okay, so we've got 3 things now so far. We've got some tags, we've got a belly band, and we have a journal, a page edger. Okay, and then we still have a little bit left. So let's see if there's one more thing that we can come up with. Okay, so the other thing I thought of is if you have some fun punches, or if you have some tag punches, you can do that. But I don't have a tag punch, but I do have a circle punch. Okay, so I have this pocket that I did on the last video, and it might be fun to add even more sticking out. So I'm going to glue this down, and then we'll have one more tab idea as well. So once I glued this down, I realized that it's sticking out a little too much, but we're going to solve that problem, y'all. And that is, this is what my mantra, try it, see what happens. Sometimes it doesn't work, okay? So now we just have something fun just sitting on the edge of the page, but it's not sticking out a lot. And so just cut it off, and maybe you can use this for collage somewhere else, okay? So the other punch that I have is I like to call it my eye punch. And so I'm gonna see about, let's see if we can, and of course you can punch this wherever you want it. And this would be the same thing. Can we find a page to add just a tab on? Actually, this is kind of fun because it matches this. And then it has a little something sticking out. And at some point, we'll add something else to this page, but we've at least got something started on the page just as decoration. This feels like it needs to go somewhere. and I'm just going to glue it down. So why waste a tiny bit? We'll just use it as a little bit of decoration on the corner of the pocket. Okay, so as you're going through the junk journal, you know, if something pops in and you have just a little extra, then you can just glue it wherever. All right, so those are your 4 ideas for using your Masterboard. You also still have Masterboard left, and we'll see if that something pops up while I'm making more ideas and adding more ideas. This might come in handy for something else, but you've got 1, 2, some little tabs. Oops, it's right here. 2. 3 is your belly band. Boop, 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 boop. There it is in your belly band. And then 4 is the simple tag. All right. I hope that gives you an idea to start making your Masterboards. Masterboards are really a fun way just to play. I find it really relaxing to just sit and glue all the pages down, or all the bits down, and it doesn't have to be on cardstock. It could just be on paper. It could be in a journal as a background page. Just cover the page. So whatever works for you, try it and see how you like it. All right. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment if you have a question or would like to share anything. And then don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this project. Let me know below if you've made a Masterboard. Did you even know what a Masterboard was before we started this project? All right. Thanks so much, friends. See you soon.